All right, good evening. I'd like to call the City of North Augusta special called City Council meeting for September the 9th, 2024 to order. And before we get into the roll call and new business, in lieu of a prayer, I'd like for us to have a moment of silence in memory of 9/11, which will be coming up in 2 days. And so we'll never forget that tragic event that has impacted our country and the world. So if we could have a moment of silence in memory of September the 11th. Thank you. Okay, roll call starting from my left.
Eric Presnell.
David McGee.
Britton Williams.
Jennifer McCauley.
David Buck.
Kevin Toole.
Okay, we're going to get right into new business. A little different kind of meeting today. So, item 3, finance ordinance number 2024-19, amending Chapter 14, Municipal Utilities, Article 1 in general, Sections 14-1A and 14-1B, Sections 14-3B and 14-3C of the City Code of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading?
So moved.
Ms. McCauley, is there a second? All right, Mr. Presnell, thank you. And you'd like to update us about this, Mr. Clifford?
Mr. Mayor, if I could, before we even launch into these very specific series of ordinances, just for the council, normally we have a study session where we talk about what is going to be debated by you all as City Council the week prior. We had a number of short notice items that come up, plus also the fact that we had one scheduled City Council meeting and then butted up against Labor Day weekend. So this is going to be a bit of a combo. So understand that you did not get fully briefed on all these items other than the council package that you received on Friday. So we've certainly set aside some time to talk through in detail. Some of these are easier than others, but these first 3 ordinances that are before you are going to require some explanation before we actually ask you to vote on those. And I have some slides that we present, study session style, if you will. So between Jamie and Ricky, if one of them can get slides up and going, we'll take a few minutes and explain, why we're here. And what I provided for you on the dais, as well as a copy of the Aiken Standard article back from July about the rate increases that the city of Aiken was going to be undertaking in the near future. They're planning on doing their changes, I believe, the first of the year, but they had just gone through a rate increase. And so as I'm waiting for the slides to queue up, the city was notified, as was the city of Aiken, from Aiken County, that they had to do a major rate increase based on operations at Horse Creek. They brought in a consultant to look at the way they were conducting business. And our understanding of that feedback from the consultant was that the rate structure that Aiken County had was not enough to carry even just the O&M, much less the long-term growth of the Horse Creek facility. And so the Aiken County Council made a decision to change the rates this past summer. And obviously, we're in a different fiscal year than the city and the county of Aiken. But I did this as a quick pull from an Aiken Standard article on July 3rd, which talks about the fact that there was a rate increase. So you have that full article there at the dais for you to be able to discuss. And so one of the things that you all ought to know is, as we look at this, understanding we're asking for this potential rate change out of cycle. What I'm going to tell you is we're not going to be asking for another rate change as we go into the budget year. So if the city council so decides to act upon our request to update the ordinances for the overall rates, that would be a one-time rate change for this coming budget year. So this would be in effect come 1 October of this year, and would essentially set the utility rates for 15 months as opposed to 12, going forward. Next slide, please. Thank you, Jamie. So I'm going to have Linda kind of dive into the costs here associated with our utility rates, our water and wastewater, and what that means. And, the very bottom line for the city council is because of this rate change through Horse Creek, our utility funds do not have the ability to absorb this change without having a rate increase on the city citizens going forward. So there's no ability for us within the funds that we have to absorb this change and not have a subsequent change to our rate structure without bankrupting that fund. It's probably a poor choice of words, but ultimately this fund balance would go to zero if we made no changes to our rate structure. So with that, I'm going to have Linda talk through a little bit about what this would look like and what the changes we're asking for. And as I'm sure you can divine from our overall batting order here, that these three items under finance are linked. So these are all rate changes and ordinances that are associated, and these three things come together. So there's really no point in considering one without considering all three. But I'll go ahead and turn this over to Linda.
Thank you. What this slide shows is what our previous average invoices from Aiken County Public Service Authority were, and what the new rate increase, what that cost is going to be to us monthly, as well as what the yearly impact is. So starting off, we are charged a per usage rate, and it's a daily rate. So currently we're at $1.40 per 1,000 gallons. We're using about $5.01 million, gallons daily. So that calculates out to about $214,000 a month that we are paying on that. We also have some fixed costs, which are the plant renewal. Oh, gotta get my glasses. The plant renewal and replacement costs and the capital component, as well as the 2016 loan note. So those fixed costs were $96,000 a month. They are going up to $112,000. So as you can see, our total monthly bill is going from about $310,000 to $471,000. And so a yearly impact, we're going from about a $3.7 million cost to a $5.6 million cost. So you're looking at almost $2 million of an increase per year. So since this started July 1st, that's going to impact us about $960,000 on our current 2024 budget. Okay, next slide. So what we have done to counteract this rate increase is proposed our own rate increases. And currently what we have is a base fee on water of $12.88, and we have a per usage of $1.45 per 1,000 after the $3,000 minimum. Wastewater, we have a base fee of $11.22, and we have a per usage fee of $3.50, and that does not have a minimum usage. So that's straight out. So what we propose to help offset the cost is just $1 increase on the base rate for water. And so our per usage fee after that minimum would stay the same. And then for our wastewater, we would leave the base fee where it is at, and then we would just charge another $1 for that per usage fee. Okay, next slide. So what does this look like for the average citizen? So for an average family, we have about a 5,600 gallon per month usage. So you're looking at a $1 increase on your water and about $5.60 increase on your sewer. So a total of about $6.60 per month increase for an average family using about 5,600 gallons of water. So an average couple, or what would be a minimum usage, is 3,000 gallons. So again, your water is going to increase about $1, and then your sewer bill will increase about $3. So you're looking at a $4 increase for our citizens who are not using as much water as the average family. Next slide. So this slide shows us what this rate increase will do for our budget. So for the rest of 2024, with this going into effect October 1st, this will add about approximately $450,000 in revenue to offset our increased expense of $966,000. For 2025, we estimate that this will add about 1.75 million into the revenue to offset our $1.9 million expense. That is all.
Let me interrupt you. Jim, would you maybe just, for a lot of citizens, kind of tell the background a little bit about people who may not have heard of Horse Creek before, what they are doing, what that's about, why that is impacting us. And I think also, I think this is important, if you would tell about the enterprise funds, that's different than the general fund. We're not talking about a millage, just kind of a little bit of, if you don't mind.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. So the city of North Augusta, even though it's a full-service city, provides water. We have a water treatment plant. We pull water from the Savannah River. We distribute that water through the tower systems and then eventually to the homes. And that is a system that the city entirely is responsible for as far as the drawing of the water and distribution of water. Wastewater is somewhat different. So in the wastewater system, the city of North Augusta has responsibility for a number of the pipes, the large interceptor pipes, which are kind of interstate highways, if you will, of the sewer system, along with all the feeder pipes that go to the various neighborhoods. But ultimately, all of that wastewater and sewage transits the North Augusta pipes and then goes through Aiken County and then gets to the Horse Creek treatment plant, which is located right off the Savannah River downriver of North Augusta. And so the county's Public Service Authority is the entity that operates this wastewater treatment plant, and that services, Aiken County in its totality, but also the cities of Aiken and North Augusta, and it also services our pass-through customers, which include Edgefield County and Saluda County. So those two counties actually have wastewater transiting through their pipes, down through our pipes, and then ultimately down to the Horse Creek facility. So we're responsible for the operations and maintenance, if you will, of our pipes, and you know that we have a major wastewater rehabilitation program that's going on there. That's not reflective in any of these numbers. So our O&M that we're doing this year on our pipes, including the project that runs into next year, is being done through Rural Infrastructure Authority money and also ARPA match that we put into there as well. And so ultimately that's where that money is coming from. As opposed to the O&M of this, the rate for the Horse Creek is set by the Public Service Authority, and then we set our rates based off of that. And then to the mayor's point about property taxes and millage, we have the taxes that our citizens pay that are residents of North Augusta, and those property taxes go into what we call the general fund. And the general fund is what funds of Parks and Recs and city personnel in public safety and a number of other departments. But then you also have enterprise funds, and enterprise funds are fee-for-service funds, meaning that if you had a house in the city limits and you were not connected at all to water or wastewater infrastructure in any kind of way, you wouldn't be paying any of those rates because you'd be on a well or you'd be on septic or whatever. But because you are on those systems, you pay for usage. So if you're a high usage customer, if you're a person who has an in-ground or an above-ground pool, your water bill is going to be significantly higher than a family that doesn't have a pool. If you have a large household and you've got 8 family members living in your residence, you're going to have a higher water and wastewater bill than a senior citizen couple living in a condominium. So those rates are very different and variable, but that's based on usage and is a fee for service. So your property taxes are paying for one set of things, if you will, but the enterprise funds are paying for an actual service, and you're paying a fee for service to receive those services.
And basically what's happening is we're being asked by the county to increase our expense that they're charging us by around 33%. So from that number, so even this year, if we implement this in October, we're still, the city, within our enterprise fund, we're eating over $500,000 of cash just ourselves.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
And then going forward in 2025, because this will continue on, we are still, we're still bleeding cash ourselves in regard. So this pain is being hit by everybody.
One thing that this number doesn't include is the growth in the city. So we will have a little bit more income coming in as opposed to we did last year. So that will also help offset some of that cost.
Could I ask a question? And I apologize for being late. I locked my keys and everything in the house and me in the car. Okay. Of course, every year when we have to raise something, it's really not because the city's raising it. It's we're being mandated higher up. And so that's what's coming to our customers. Is that correct?
Well, it depends on the fund that we're talking about, Councilwoman.
Okay.
There are things in the general fund, there are things that are beyond the city's control. And so, for example, when you have inflationary costs, such as the cost of gasoline and fuel, that's a price that is not within our purview.
Right, but I mean, this is something we can't help.
That's correct. This is not something that the city has.
So we're going to do.
The county didn't, this wasn't like they came to us a year and said, by the way, we're going to be implementing this.
Right.
I mean, pretty much dumped this in our laps.
That was my question. Why is there
About a month
such a
ago.
large increase in percentage all of a sudden?
I think, and again, I don't want to speak for the county, but my understanding is when they brought just like any municipality or county would do, hey, sometimes it's good to have an outside look at your operations to see where you are. And when they brought an outside group in to look at the Horse Creek facility, that outside group came in and said, hey, you are dramatically undercharging based on what's going to happen. And there's a lot of different ways that you can make up for that revenue, and whether you choose to increase that slowly over time or do whatever. And my understanding is the county council wanted to at least address it because they felt that the issue was critical enough for them to do so. And so they ended up, moving this rate increase, understanding that was out of cycle, not just for us, but also for City of Aiken. And my understanding is City of Aiken is also considering a rate increase on their customers as well. I just think they're going to implement theirs a little bit later than ours.
But I don't want our citizens to think we're sitting up here saying, whoa, let's increase everything. We're not. It's because of this. We are being told what to do. And that I'm going to tell y'all, this is not the first time. It's been over the years, different things has come from the state. And it one year on something with public safety took away a lot of the money in our budget for something. And that we just had to bite it and go on. So now on what you were saying a minute ago, let me get back to that picture. Is this something new? Like if I have a swimming pool and you don't, and I use more water, have we been doing it that way or not?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, because I don't have to pay attention to a water bill, but other than paying it. So I didn't know if
It's
that was
not
something new. Huh?
Yeah,
What?
water bills are.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Has that always been that your house uses more water than my house? So it's not,
It's a variable charge, Councilwoman. So if you use more, you pay more.
okay, so that's
I mean,
been
like when
around forever. Okay, all right. Well,
Yeah,
I did
Pat,
not
so
know
if I
that.
fill up my swimming pool, it costs me more money that month because I fill up my swimming pool.
So don't get a swimming pool then. Have a lower water bill.
Or don't use your neighbor's water.
I got a quick question. It might be better for Jason though. So with the sewage, is that rate based upon the water meter, I'm assuming? Because we don't have meters to, so is that just a percentage of the usage for the sewer?
So the usage is based off your actuals for that 3 months in the winter. And then for the rest of the year, it's budgeted for whatever that average was. And then that rate is also based on what type of pipe you have going in. So the bit larger your pipe, the larger your per rate cost is.
Right.
So our commercial customers will be paying will have a larger increase than
Right.
our residential.
Well, and the only reason I'm bringing this up because I know this is going to come up, and James and them are going to have to answer questions because somebody's going to ask it. Well, I have a sprinkler system. Why does my sewage rate go up even though technically it's not using the sewer?
So that will not be affected if they are not using their sprinkler system during that first
Right.
3 months. So
Okay.
that's not going to affect that.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. People have asked that, and it's like, we're getting charged for sewage based on water usage, but, not all of it's going into sewer, so.
And that's why you don't fill up your swimming pool in the first 3 months.
So I would just say again that there's, hopefully not letting the cat out of the bag, Mr. Mayor, but as we've had some discussions about the upcoming budget, we're aware that this is going to be a hit on our citizens as far as the water and the wastewater rate. And so what you'll be getting later in the month essentially is a flat millage budget proposed to you all for consideration. So we're trying to balance that out and understand that our citizens are paying extra money this year that was not necessarily forecasted, and trying to absorb that and take an appetite present for other new and exciting things in the general fund.
Is this commercial too?
I got a question. So when did the county new rates come into play? July?
They were effective in July.
July, okay. So we're already behind the 8 ball.
That's correct.
So we've been churning cash July, August, September.
And I asked Linda to look at a number of different scenarios. And so there was a scenario I asked her to look at for doing this as a 1 January start. So we would do it with the budget year. And I really did not feel comfortable with the amount of money we were going to have lost. And our fund balance could absorb it, but would not leave very much contingency left afterwards. And so I felt 1 October was the more appropriate day to implement our changes, which is also the reason why we're having a special call tonight, so we can get 2 readings in prior to 1 October.
All right. Any other questions for them? Okay. First reading. Are there any citizen comments? Got some citizens here. Okay, council discussion.
Well, I guess doing our first reading, I mean, I know citizens maybe can't do anything about it either, just like we can't do anything about it. But that would give them one more time to come and hear this, I guess. I mean, okay. Well, I just didn't want.
You'll have, because it's an ordinance, Councilwoman, you'll have the reading tonight as a first reading, and you'll have a second reading next week on the 16th. So citizens can also come down. And again, this wasn't meant to be an ambush where you have not a lot of time in the study session. But in order to really keep us in a good fiscal position, 1 October is what our implementation date ought to be.
And there's not a lot of flexibility within this enterprise fund. I mean, we're not talking about a general fund. I mean, it's not like, okay, we're going to start cutting. I mean, it is the revenue comes from the usage, and it's just not.
Just like Mayor, you said sometimes, hear it from the horse's mouth. This can get on Facebook, turn this all the way around. So I want people to know it's just not us 7 sitting up here doing something.
No.
It's mandated, and if you want to voice your opinion, come next week before the second reading, correct? Can they voice their opinion then, or is it a done deal?
Councilwoman, it's not a done deal until you vote on it.
That's what I'm saying, second reading next week. Because I want people to know why, not, oh my goodness, they got to pay for the ball field down here, so they're going to up the water. That will go around.
Well,
okay, so.
We do what we always do, educate people. Now,
hear it from the horse's mouth. Come to these meetings and know what's going on.
Yeah, I do say come to the meeting. I say hear from the horse's mouth. But I would, yes. Oh, okay. Well, I guess there's another way. I could use something.
No, I just want people to hear the real reason.
Yes. That again, Pat. The point is this. That's why we live stream it. That's why we have these readings. This is why people need to care to be involved, because there are situations like this that kind of get. And can I say something? Mr. Charles, will you raise your hand back there? This is one of my buddies from church, and he has been very interested in our government. And I told him to come and just observe and listen. So he did. Thank you for doing that. All right. Well, let's just, yeah, that's good. All right. Any other discussion? All right, I ask for a vote. All in favor? That's unanimous. Okay. All right. Yeah. Get on my little handouts here. Okay. Item 4, Finance Ordinance Number 2024-20, establishing water service charges by revising Section 14-25, Title water rate schedule generally of the city code of the city of North Augusta, South Carolina. I do have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading. All right, Mr. President, is there a second? All right, Mr. McGee. And I know each resolution's, ordinance is written a little different, but it's basically dealing with the same issues, right? Anything else you need to share on this?
No, Mr. Mayor, I have nothing to add for this ordinance or ordinance 2024-21.
So we're just basically fixing what's our code currently.
These three are
needs to be
bundled.
for these three. Okay.
Correct.
All right. I won't say it just so we have for the record. Are there any citizen comments? All right. Any council discussion? All right. Here now, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. And finally, of the three here, item 5, ordinance number 2024-21, establishing wastewater service charges by revising section 14-68, title Schedule of Monthly Wastewater Service Charge of the City Code of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina. We have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading.
So moved.
All right, Mr.
I'll
Buck,
second
thank
it.
you. Mr. McGee, appreciate it. And, okay, any citizen comments? Any council discussion? Here now, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? That is unanimous. All right, moving along. Item number 6, Engineering and Public Works, Resolution number 2024-37, authorizing the City of North Augusta to enter into a contract with Williamson and Associates to perform weatherproofing consulting services at SRP Park. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? Mr. President, second. Ms. Carpenter, thank you. We'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford.
Mr. Mayor and Council, so as you may or may not be aware, we've had a number of leak issues associated with our storefronts at the stadium. So that includes Swank, Brinkley's, and I think even Rio Cantina is now starting to see some leak issues. We have expended the maximum amount of Flex Seal or other kinds of caulking type products that will, keep the top from leaking. And so ultimately, we are now at a point where this is going to require a design and or engineering fix. We've had Brassfield and Gorey, who's the original general contractor of the stadium, involved in this process. We've had a number of meetings with them. We've had some on-site meetings with them as well. And so their recommendation was to contract with this firm to do design and engineering work to figure out, what changes need to be made structurally to the upper portion of the decking or the roofing there. This is just for the consulting services, and really what we should get out of this is a set of engineering plans to execute. Now we'll have to come back for a separate action through a contractor to go ahead and actually do those changes. So much like when we do the public safety facilities, firehouses, whatever else, we get a design firm and then we get a general contractor. It's kind of the same construct, just on a smaller scale. The fiscal amount you see there is listed at $85,000. What we're currently in negotiation with is certainly less than that, but I built some contingency in there, so if it's required, we could have it. And this would come out of the Riverfront Central Core Fund. And now that we have some construction on the horizon for Riverside Village, I felt a little more comfortable tapping into the Riverfront Central Core to address this problem here within the stadium itself. And I'll pause for questions.
So a couple things. This, we're finding out, was an issue with originally the construction of SRP Park.
That's correct.
And like a lot of things, the warranty that we had, I'm assuming we had one initially, we're past that. We're now finding this problem, and we're confident that they have done enough of their consulting that they'll be able to fix, remediate this, so we won't have this problem going forward.
That's certainly the hope, Mr. Mayor.
And because even though this is the stadium, this is the stadium improvement fund is not a funding mechanism because it's for separate. Just make that clear so citizens understand.
Well, the reason we're not touching the Stadium Improvement Fund, first of all, is there's a number of other requirements the Stadium Advisory Board have determined that need to be funded through the Stadium Improvement Fund. And I think also when you add up the cost of the design contract along with the fix of that, would surpass what is left in the Stadium Improvement Fund at this point in time. Anyway.
Okay, very good.
Jim, So was this determined, was it a construction flaw or was it an engineering flaw?
It entirely depends upon who you ask, Council.
So everybody's pointing the fingers is what you're saying. I mean, I kind of figured that was the case. I'm sure the engineers are pointing at the construction people. Construction people say, no, this is how they did it. So we're just kind of in a mess with this. I mean, we can't really go back on any of them. It's probably been, 7 years now?
That's what it says. Past the warranty.
Yes.
So we still technically have not pinpointed the problem exactly where it's coming from yet.
That's correct, Councilman.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Clifford? Any citizen comments? Okay. Council discussion.
I guess I'll go for it. So I had this question. So the city owns the retail properties and the developer is not responsible for the repairs. The city is the one that has to fall for the repairs based off of negotiations a long time ago.
Based on the agreement that was put in place back in 2017, we as the city are the landlord of that property. And so one of the things that was problematic, I think, or at least a contributing factor, is that we didn't have a number of these retailers in the shells until fairly recently. So we may have had leak problems going on there, but if the shells were unoccupied, those problems might not have come to light during the warranty period.
Is there a way in the future to renegotiate to where it falls on the developer for those, or is it just all straight stadium attachment? Just for my reference from the past.
That's a great legal question that Kelly might be able to answer, but my understanding is the documents that we have are binding and are in place for as long as the stadium is being paid for.
Yeah, do I understand your question to be, in leasing out that property, can we renegotiate that?
Correct.
If we ever get to a point where we release it, but under the current lease, that we wouldn't be able to do that. And generally, it'd be very difficult under a lease to put that type of maintenance on the occupant. Generally, structural defects or anything like that would be on the owner.
And it's mainly because of it being attached to a stadium. That's the main. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we own it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All
So-
right, thank you.
So what part, so it's Brinkley's, Rio, and Swink?
That's the current.
Okay, what about the one on the other side that's currently available?
That's when they.
Including this?
That's correct.
Any other discussion from council? All right, here now I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor? That's unanimous.
Well, if y'all remember, and Junior, you do, I'm sure, out at Fire Station 2, that roof, who took ever responsibility for that? I mean, and that was a year after year after year.
That's why it's a
Fixing,
capital
yeah.
project sales tax 5.
Yeah, but I mean, that was, nobody was taking responsibility as to why that roof leaked all those years.
All right. What am I doing? All right, let's move to item 7, Planning and Development, Resolution number 2024-38, authorizing the City of North Augusta to amend the professional engineering services contract with Tischler Bice, Inc. to perform additional services for creation of an impact fee structure and capital improvement plan for parks and recreation. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Is that Ms. McCauley?
Yeah.
Okay, and Mr. Toole, thank you. You want updates on this? We know we talked about this in study session previously.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The city has undertaken to enter a contract with Tischler Bice to assess impact fees for the city based on the amount of development that we have. And when you were first presented with the different options, you kind of got a Chinese menu, if you will, of wastewater, water, all the different utilities and roads and a number of different things. And so when the planning director and I were doing a review with Carson Bice, who's from Tischler Bice, to talk about the status of the impact fees, as we got towards the end there, his feeling was that we were leaving money on the table for Parks and Rec. We had a subsequent discussion about the public safety aspect of that because it's not included in the impact fees, and his take on public safety was because we fund their capital expenditures almost exclusively through capital project sales tax, that they would not be a good add for the impact fees, but he felt Parks and Rec is an area that could be added. And so based on the discussion, we negotiated an update for $14,500 additional as an addendum to add Parks and Rec to the overall impact fee. And that won't take a whole lot of additional time. And our intention is to present to council an updated list with the impact fees with Carson Bias here in the late October, early November timeframe, with the idea that we'd be able to move forward with an impact fee if that was so amenable to the council in early 2025. So ultimately, this would allow us to capture the Parks and Rec requirements with a new development coming into the city, and I don't believe by adding that changes subsequently the overall time frame for us to make an impact fee presentation to you all.
So now we've got transportation included, water and sewer, stormwater. Now we're adding Parks and Rec. Okay, very good. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Clifford? Any citizen comments? Council discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. And last one on the list, Parks and Rec resolution number 2024-39, authorizing Greenway Trail erosion mitigation. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Colley, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Toole. I want to update us on this, please, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Council members, as you probably have seen by now, if you are transiting the Greenway over in Beck Park, over in Hammond's Ferry, there's some construction tape out. There's some areas there because you can see very clearly where the bank erosion has occurred and leads right up to the Greenway itself. And we've got some concerns long-term about the safety of the Greenway Trail there within Beck Park because of those washouts. Some of those are there for storm water reasons, and I think you can actually see the end cap unit there. One of those, which is a large concrete item, got actually pushed out through the combination of water pressure and also just the soil giving way with that moving down the bank. And so what I'm requesting today is for the city council to approve the allocation of $50,000 out of our stormwater utility fund for the purposes of addressing and remediating those issues before they become much larger issues where we have a washout that knocks out part of the trail.
Let me ask you, so are we confident that, because we've had that orange mesh up, we've had the barrel, so I mean it hadn't been up just since the last week, it's been up for a number of months because I've had citizens keep asking me about it. So have we been doing our due diligence to say, okay, here's what it's going to cost, here's what's going to do?
I believe our engineering department and stormwater department have put together a viable plan along with the Parks and Recs folks, but really from an engineering and technical perspective, Tom Zeser and his team have done a fair amount of analysis and work on this, and based on the information that they have, they believe this will actually fix that problem.
Okay, very good.
A quick question, Jim. I don't know if you know the answers to this or not, but whatever the contractor does to fix this, this will also include when the river gets to flood stage, correct? Because I know that bank, I've watched it since Hammond's Ferry started in 2007, that storm drain coming through there. I know you're talking about it. It's got progressively worse, but, in how long ago was that? Almost 20 years ago or whatever, when that was started, the river will get to flood stage on average probably once every 2 to 3 years. So what they're putting in, they're not going to pack sand or something and hope to be a permanent fix, are they? Or do we know that yet?
Our assistant city administrator is dying to weigh in on this issue, so I will chuck it over to JD.
Dying to weigh in on it. Just so you know, the remediation was looked at by the same company that did our boat dock bank stabilization, so it'll look very similar to that. That's how we got our estimate together, yes.
Yeah, because most of the houses along the riverbank, we all have riprap. And if you don't have that, and I've seen it, and Rick, you've seen it. When the river floods, it comes almost to the bottom of the fishing docks. So that riprap will be very important.
Thank you for bailing me out there, Mr. McCauley.
All right, are there any citizen comments? Any council discussion? All right, here now, I'll ask for a vote.
I was just going to make another quick comment. That storm drain system has been a problem for years. I just want y'all to know that. I'm so glad that we're finally going to address it because it's been there for a while. And due to the water coming up and down, the head wall structure that was there just completely fell. So I hope we are paying attention to that design closer. Make sure they put a good footing on it and posts or something. You're going to have to put some pier system or something, I would assume. I'm not an engineer.
Yes, sir. Our engineering department is on top of that. It's going to look a lot like the riprap, but it's engineered. It's very well engineered from our crew.
I'm sure somebody smarter than me is going to fix that.
All right, I'm gonna ask for a vote. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Very good. Okay, thank y'all for being here. We're gonna adjourn and then we'll take just a minute break before we come back for our study session. So we're not done yet. We stand adjourned. Good evening. I'm going to call the City of North Augusta study session for September the 9th, 2024 to order. I'm turning it over to our City Administrator, Mr. Jim Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll go through our standard batting order for study session. We'll do a review of next week's agenda, department details from our directors, managers, and then Mayor's Matters. We'll have a tourism website update. So we'll go ahead and move through into the agenda review. And under old business, we have a number of items. The first one being under Parks and Rec, ordinance number 2024-18, establishing rules for the provision of the boat dock within the city limits of the Mayor Jones Amphitheater, second reading. I know this was a robust discussion last week, our last city council meeting, but I did not receive guidance from the council to update or amend, I believe, the boat rules that we have. Those are in your packet for consideration, and so next week will be the second reading of the boat dock rules and regulations, if you will.
Don't we have some already put up when we had the ribbon cutting?
Those are not enforceable as of yet until you get there.
They are the ones that take them down. Okay. That's why I've been fishing down there.
That's right. So, and as just a highlight with the council, again, this is a start point. So ultimately, after we get, a season under our belt or, a year under our belt, if the city council has citizen feedback that they would like to amend or change the rules, that's your purview to do so as the council, and we can make signage to reflect an updated ordinance if that is your desire. Subject to any questions on that, I'll move into the next item. So I'm going to bundle items 7, 8, and 9, which are all finance, which you just voted on as the first ordinance reading for the utility rates, wastewater service charges, and water service charges. This will be the second reading. Again, there'll be no change to this, and obviously we'll get some citizen feedback between now and next week. But I would tell you that our staff recommendation is not going to change based on any other updates that I'm tracking, unless the county decides to roll back the overall rate change, which I don't think is likely. So the math problem that we see is the math problem that we see. So those will conclude, if you will, the old business. So you'll have 4 items under old business for next week at the agenda. And then I'll move on to new business. And we have a fair number of new business items, so it'll be a good agenda. So item 10 under planning and development, ordinance number 2024-22. Changing the corporate limits to the city of North Augusta for annexation by the landowners and annexing plus or minus 36.053 acres at 381 Laurel Lake Drive, owned by Baranowski Investment Company, LLC, and to orient the council. This is a parcel of land that's located at Exit 5, kind of behind the Jiffy Lube. So if you're heading northbound on Route 25, you just crossed over I-20, look to the right, and there's the Jiffy Lube, and behind that is the parcel of land that we're talking about. Understanding that this came through the Planning Commission, there was some citizen feedback that citizens in the county were not super excited about this project because ultimately it's going to be a commercial industry building there for supporting trucks. But ultimately, this is something that the staff supports, and we're certainly ready to take any questions. And I have our planning director here in the audience as well, so if you have very specific questions, I'll defer to him.
What'd you say commercial was?
It's TC.
It'll be zoned as thoroughfare commercial.
What for? What?
Gas stations.
No, it's
Garage.
it's a freight. It's a logistics company, freight transfer station.
Similar to Southeastern right there on
The
25.
big 18-wheelers.
They're relocating. Okay.
But that's already been approved by the county?
No, this is yours to approve. This has been heard by the Planning Commission for the annexation, and then is now in your discretion moving
But I'm
forward.
talking about the development itself that's in the county. It's not currently in the city, it's in the county.
They're going to annex. Yeah, they want to annex before they do any development there.
Now, will it be major hauling? I mean, that's a lot. I mean, we're talking 18-wheelers, right? Coming in hauling. Do what?
Should be right there behind the gas tanks. Yeah, they're already in and
I
out
don't
there.
understand neighborhood.
I kind of feel like it matches the area where they're trying to put it.
It's
so-
kind of a weird area. You got that, and then you got a neighborhood at the very back.
Oh,
Yeah, so if you look at that road, so behind the Jiffy Lube, and you can see some of the oil storage tanks, and you can see some other businesses associated with that as a thoroughfare commercial zone. It does comport with the usage there within that corridor. And as the council recalls, you did not act favorably upon a request that was at exit 1 because of the mixture of the Bergen Road and Bergen West and Gregory Landing, Gregory Lake Road. Because of the amount of residential traffic. But I would tell you that the residential traffic at that exit 5 location, the east side of exit 5, is significantly lower than we see at exit 1.
well, what is the residential out there? I mean, is it houses, apartments, townhomes, or what?
Yeah,
What's the name
Laurel
of it?
Lake subdivision.
Yeah, it's at the very
Laurel
back
Lake
of that.
subdivision.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's at the very back of Laurel Lakes Drive.
And again, there, you said they're relocating, where are they currently?
They're on-
Right now, southeast
Yeah,
of
right
Freight
now,
is on
that's
Highway 25
Yeah, on the
across from
left.
Walmart.
Yeah, okay.
You'll
Yes.
be, the plan, as I understand it, is they will be relocating from that facility to this facility. So as far as truck traffic in the area, it might be a wash. Might be a little bit bigger facility, but it should be kind of a wash. The other thing is when we looked at the comprehensive plan, it called for industrial in that area. And talking through it with the applicant, we kind of felt like rather than going full-blown industrial with the zoning, thoroughfare commercial would capture it and let them develop the way they wanted to develop it, but not open-end it for any future development.
You remember when we talked about Love coming to North Augusta, Greg Kendrick?
Yes, ma'am.
And I know one of the big things with the big trucks coming in, and there was nobody really close to that neighborhood residential, was it? And we, because of the big tractor trailers.
That was a high traffic zone.
That was a different issue. That was all the congestion of the Bergen Road and the light.
Well,
And this might make a little more sense because you got the red light right there.
Correct.
So, you don't
I'm gonna
have,
take myself out there and look at it for the next week.
Did they say what they're gonna do with their current location once this goes through?
It's going to be a Cracker Barrel.
No. No, sir. Hopefully, and this is a conversation I'll have with Mr. Clifford and Kelly as we move forward, is how can we help capture them? Because right now they are in a donut hole. And can we capture them to come into the city for the redevelopment of that parcel?
Do we know what type of daily traffic, how many trucks are coming through there on a regular?
They are in the process of doing a traffic impact analysis. And we haven't gotten that yet.
Well,
I just feel compelled to make sure you understand that you're not voting on a truck terminal. You're talking about annexing property and zoned at thoroughfare commercial. And that means anything that can go in thoroughfare commercial can go in there. And we are not talking about a specific use of that property.
well, and to me, that makes it even scarier that we've go and vote for that, then there we go. I mean, looks like we'd have a little more information from them.
Tommy, I think the thoroughfare commercial makes sense, because if you read it, the district, it accommodates commercial, light industrial, warehouse distribution.
Correct.
That's a lot.
It's consistent.
That's not
with-
as wide a spectrum of some other zoning, so
Yeah,
it really is consistent.
Yeah, very
Well,
much
and-
consistent with the other businesses in that general vicinity.
And I would just point this out to you. The reason they want to come in is to get utilities. But if the city does not annex them, then they could develop in the county. And so then the city has no say as far as the development, traffic patterns, that type of thing.
Yeah, and that's why I brought up the question, did they do anything with the county prior to this?
No, sir, they hadn't. They came to us because they're contiguous and want city services.
And why are they moving from up 25 here?
That's a business decision. They hadn't shared that with me. But if I were to venture a guess, when I look at the paperwork, they may have a lease on that property because it's not to that company. And that is probably a lot more valuable property now than it was whenever it became a truck terminal.
Well,
All right, go ahead, Jim. Let's go to the next one.
All right, I'm going to still lean on Tommy. We've got another annexation request, which is actually in the same neck of the woods, if you will. Ordinance number 2024-23, changes the corporate limits of the city of North Augusta, accepting the petition requesting annexation by the landowners and annexing plus or minus 2.44 acres of property located at 210 Twin Hills Road, owned by Wesley E. Doolittle, first reading. Tommy, can you shed some light on this one as well?
Actually, it's the same application. They are going to combine these two parcels into the one development site. They have gone to the Board of Zoning Appeals previously and contingent upon being annexed to get a variance so that they can move the facility further back than the maximum of 80 feet. They want to move it back off of Twin Lakes so they have more room for those commercial vehicles coming in, tractor trailers, and have room to get their parking lot in front so that you don't have that congestion and stacking.
That current use on that one? Did it say?
current use on that property.
212?
R14.
There is a current use on that property. I'm not for sure what it is, but if this goes through, they'll be relocated or it won't be there.
I meant, I asked the wrong question.
Okay.
What's the current zoning? I missed
It's county zoning of UD. And I'm not for sure what's allowed in UD or
That's
not.
urban development.
Right.
it. Urban development. I just missed it. Pretty much means you can do anything you want.
Mr. Mayor, the next item I have is a resolution number 2024-40, authorizing a permit for construction work. And so, as has been reported in the press and also to you all, South City Partners is now the owner of parcels C, K, G, and H in Riverside Village, and Fansler Construction out of Jacksonville, Florida, is the general contractor who is going to move forward on this project. And so they are already looking to move forward, and that's a good news story for the city. And they are looking to put together a construction plan that involves starting here in the very near future. As a matter of fact, if you go down to Parcel G at the amphitheater, you can see some equipment already starting to be staged on those lots, which is a positive sign. And they're requesting additional work hours to be able to move this project. And I think it's in the best interest of the city to not have construction languishing down Riverside Village on an extended period of time. So the request is to have specifically 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, and then 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, with concrete pours as early as 1 a.m. And if you recall, for the MEDAC building and for the Public Safety Headquarters, and also for Fire Station 1, the City Council approved concrete pour times early in the morning, because when you talk about a large amount of concrete, a large density of concrete, that requires a large cure time and certain temperatures, and so they start those usually early in the morning. And so that's the request. The big request on here really is that it's a Saturday work day. Their initial request was for starting at 7 in the morning. We asked them to bump that to 8 because we didn't want to have residents either in the clubhouse or Hammond's Ferry or River Club having to deal with noise at 7 in the morning on Saturday. So we asked them to amend those hours, which they did. And what you have before you is a request to change those work hours or to allow Fansler Construction to work for the period of performance for parcels C, K, G, and H.
Couple thoughts. I'm assuming for the folks who were living down there back with the ballpark and everything was developed, this was common. I would think this is not unusual.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
I think it's important. I think council as well as citizens, Chancellor has already. They are meeting with all the homeowners, the Association Hammond's Ferry. Those folks are aware of this. They understand the timetable, the scheduling. They're aware of this, the feedback. JD, you were there. My understanding was it was very good dialogue. So I just think it's important. We're not ambushing citizens. This is not stealth being done. This group is doing it the right way. And so far, what I'm seeing has been positive.
Yes, that is correct. They've already started their kind of, I would say, community meetings where they're sharing their schedule, like you said, and it's been positive feedback. It's been back and forth, so that people have had feedback and concerns that they've aired, and Fansler so far has been able to address them and have a plan to address those concerns in the future as well. And one point on the concrete pours, they'll give us, again, 24 hours notice on any of those late night pours so we can get that out on social media as well as alert the local residents and businesses of those plans. So that's not a ongoing everyday thing at the 1 a.m. middle of the night thing. Just want to make sure that's clear.
All right, so just any other questions from the council? I'll move to resolution number 2024-41, which is a resolution to authorize the issuance of a parade permit to North Augusta Lions Club to conduct the 2024 Christmas Parade on Sunday, December 8th. This is a routine request. We get these from the Lions Club every year, and certainly the staff and full of Christmas cheer in September would love for you to approve this.
Let's just pray for good weather last 2 years.
Okay. So moving on, we've got under administration, which is resolution number 2024-42, which I don't believe is in your packet or maybe an addendum, appointing members to the North Augusta Beautification Foundation Board of Directors, and I'm not sure if that's a Jamie or a JD or a mayor option.
I'll take that. The Beautification Foundation needs to swap out members, and so they're also changing their bylaws to add 2 more members. They have somebody that's coming off, they need to add somebody, and also expand their board by 2 members. So this is council is the only one that can approve the members for this foundation, so it has to come before council. So in the resolution, we'll have the adjustment to their bylaws and the members that will be coming off and coming on to the board.
I would tell you, I cannot be more pleased with both the Beautification Foundation, also public safety. Both of these groups are raising funds. They're getting citizens involved, which I think is really exciting. They're touching areas of the city that normally we would not. So we've got really good leadership on both those foundations. And I think for this group to want to expand their board of directors is a big plus. So hats off to the chair and co-chair of Beautification Foundation.
All right, and with that, we'll move into item 15. The next 2 resolutions, resolution number 2024-43 and 2024-44, are accepting deeds of dedication. The first one being for street, sanitary sewer, stormwater collection, fire suppression, detention pond, associated easements and rights of way, along with the maintenance guarantee and letter of credit for rushing waters phase 3. So if you recall, you got a great update from Tanya over in stormwater one time about the big stormwater project they had down there with all the work that had been done there. And so Rushing Waters has now been able to move past that point, and so now they're in the part of the development that is butting up against Belvedere. So it goes down to the low point, starts coming up and gets terraced as it gets into Belvedere proper, and that's the portion of the infrastructure we're talking about here, I believe. And then moving into resolution number 2024-44, very similar deed of dedication, but that's for up near exit 5, Walnut Grove, section 13. So north of, just west of Route 25, and then getting towards the north end of the city limits. And those I would count as routine actions, but those would be for your consideration for next week. So we have lots of ongoing development, and it's progressing pretty rapidly, all things considered. So pretty moving times. And I think that covers all of the agenda items for this evening, and I'll pause for any questions from mayor and council, and if not, we'll move into department details. All right, Jamie, over to you.
For department details, we have first up, Finance, Linda.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Finances updates are Cycle 1 disconnect dates are scheduled for September 17th and 18th. Cycle 2's due date is scheduled for September 19th. And just a bit of information, we sent certified letters to our delinquent tax properties on September 4th, and we had 113 properties total that went out. And then our delinquent tax postings will start September 23rd. Any questions?
Next up is Public Services, Jason Sykes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So in Public Services, currently just the update on the transfer station. Currently, we're completing the dirt work, and now we're waiting on rebar to come on site. From there, they're going to pour the walls, and then they'll start pouring the actual concrete for the building to sit upon. Also, we have installed the new truck scale system, so we're working on that, and hopefully should have everything IT supposed to be setting up the network system next week. Any questions?
Jason, this is not really fall under you, but I've been asked about it just recently, and I didn't get a chance to talk to James. But I'm assuming we do an annual bug spray. We do a mosquito spray, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is that something the city has always done? Are there certain things, because, people I'm hearing, it kills bees, it kills other insects that are important, that are healthy. I mean, what's our deal on that?
So to my knowledge, the chemical that they use falls under property maintenance, is not to harm bees. And that's why they sprayed at night. So just take you back. So when they spray that chemical, they mainly spray early in the morning. So usually that's conducted about 4 o'clock in the morning. Bees mainly are in the hives. They don't come out till sunrise. So that's why they kind of do it early in the morning. And we send out a notice. So there's a notice on our webpage under Public Services that states, when we spray, the times that we do spray, and also there is a form on there if they do not want us to spray in their area. So there's 2 separate forms on the site for that. Yeah. But yes, that's why we spray early in the morning, so that way that chemical doesn't cause an action.
Thank you.
Did you say mosquitoes?
Yeah, that's why we spray in the morning.
Well, would somebody tell me how my generation lived when we used to chase the mosquito man right up at the smoke?
I was going to say we used to ride the bicycles behind them.
Oh boy, that was
It was always in the evening too.
yeah, always in the
Yeah,
evening,
you follow it down the hill, and it's just like.
Yeah, and you were right up in that truck, inhaling all of that. But here we are.
Probably explains a lot with us, Pat.
You've given us a lot of clarity here. I never had that problem. I don't know anybody. Jason, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, next up is Planning and Development, Tommy Paradise.
Mr. Mayor, Miss Pat, I have to say I was right there with you. And yeah, maybe that's why they spray early at 4:30 in the morning so the kids don't fall. We've got kind of a unique situation this month with the Planning Commission. We don't have any action items, but we are going to have a study session. We've been in the new code for about a month now, or about a year now, and different things that we found that just aren't jiving. We're going to look at some of those in the work session and see if they are going to recommend any additional changes. GovSense training is Tuesday and Thursday, and tomorrow is Tuesday, and all of our planning staff needs to sit in on that training. So we'll post a sign at the desk and a sign-in sheet because there won't be anybody there to answer any questions, including the secretary needs to sit in on that. And then on Thursday, it'll be code enforcement. We will be open that day, but I'll only have 2, so there'll be kind of light duty, lightweight in the office. So there may be some time delays on answering questions if y'all hear anything from the public about it. We'll try to get back with everybody as soon as possible, the return messages. And then on the property cleanup and code enforcement, past couple of weeks, involuntary cleanup was 26 Rapids Court, 1005 Georgia Avenue. You may recognize that address. 611.
Half house.
Like I said, you may.
Well, is something going on though on it? Is that what you're saying?
We cleaned it.
Oh,
we
we
cut
just,
the grass.
oh, I was hoping somebody was coming. I've never seen anything in my life like that.
I People ask me about that all the time.
But, so that's the city cleaning, not property owner.
Yes, ma'am.
What?
We get reimbursed, Councilman. If it's an involuntary cleanup, then the cost of that goes on the tax rolls for property.
Bill. Yeah, I do. Lord, don't I know that?
Yes, ma'am. And then also at 611 Park Avenue, we got that one as well. And at 611 Park Avenue, in addition to cleaning the property, there were 3 abandoned cars there that got towed off.
Great job. Tell your folks.
I'll pass it on,
That's
sir.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Public Safety, Chief Johnson.
Good evening. As you can see on the sheet, Public Safety received our South Carolina accreditation on Friday. So we're a duly accredited agency nationally and through South Carolina. Took a lot of work to get that done. Lieutenant Swan was our main accreditation manager. And what this does is it allows everyone in the city to know that North Augusta Public Safety is operating with the best practices across the nation and in South Carolina. Monday, we will be hosting a blood drive at the Fireman's Hut. This is the second annual blood drive we've had in memory of Dustin Beasley, who passed away in the line of duty during COVID. And then also, just to give you an update, we've had 2 home football games now. We've been monitoring the parking throughout that. There's been a couple of violations. We were able to give them some flyers to inform them that they weren't supposed to park there, why they weren't supposed to park there.
You know what? Friday night was even bigger because we had rec night. So there were more parents there. Thank you, Rick. More cars were there Friday
Yes,
night
ma'am.
because of rec night.
Yes, ma'am.
And it went smooth, I think.
Any other questions?
I was up there wandering around.
Thank you.
Look at Junior.
Thanks,
I love.
Parks and Recreation, Rick Meyer.
Good evening. Parks and Recreation will host the South Carolina Recreation and Parks Association League Class this Thursday, September 11th. The League Class consists of some of the top young Parks and Rec professionals across the state of South Carolina. They've been coming to North Augusta now for the past 6 years, which says a lot of what they see here in North Augusta. Mayor Williams will welcome the class to North Augusta at 1 o'clock, and I put their spending Friday night. It's Thursday night they're spending at Lookaway Hall here in North Augusta. Fall sports begin league play tonight at Lions Field, Hammonds Ferry Soccer Complex, and the Riverview Park Activity Center. And I wanted to remind our community on our soccer complex, please, if you go out and use the fields during the weekend when we're not playing, do not move the soccer goals. They're anchored for a reason. That's a safety scenario for us, and that is not something that we need folks to do. And lastly, Parks and Recreation will be offering an ecology camp on October 9th and 10th at Brick Pond Park during the fall break. And this camp will run from 9 to 3, cost us $15. You can sign up online or at the Activity Center.
Do we have signs up talking about don't mess with the soccer?
That's going to be done, yes, because this was a major factor we had over the weekend. So
Signs like wet paint and the person touching it.
exactly, yes, thank you.
Well, where are they moving them to?
they'll shorten the field, they'll lengthen.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I
they'll
can
just.
imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And for some of you who don't know, 20, 25 years ago, we had a young boy that the soccer field was not grounded and it fell on top of him, 6 years old, and killed him.
Yes. These goals are different today
Well,
than they
yeah,
did, but it's still the same.
Yeah,
You're still
to
doing
me,
the
if they
same.
could move them,
Yes.
they're not anchored down enough.
Well, no, and you get enough adults, we've got them anchored down. You'd have to anchor them in concrete or something to keep them. Yep.
Rick, y'all still do an award named after that young man, don't you?
We absolutely do.
I was going to say,
Yes.
I remember that many years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is this the first time we've done this ecology camp, or we do it every year?
We did something similar before last year, but it's something that we've started trying to do, and obviously Troy Roberts from our staff will work, and Michaela from Stormwater, will be helping her out.
I tell you, I was thinking about that. That's great to know, but between that camp, Michaela does a number of the other things. People talk a lot about the Brick Pond Parks. This city takes a lot of pride in this, and we do a lot of education on those brick ponds. So, kind of frustrating sometimes when people act like we don't care about the brick ponds. This is not true, but this is good. Thank you, Rick.
Yes, thank you.
What's the age group on that camp?
Boy, you got me, David. I'll have to look that one up for you. I'll get that from Tori.
You're too old.
Thank
You
you.
can't go.
Yes, you can't go. Yeah, but I'll look that up for you.
All right, next up is tourism. Carl.
I'm excited about it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just want to update you on a few events we have coming up. Ironman, as y'all are well aware, is coming up September 29th. The Ironman this year is going to start at the SRP Park, utilize our new boat dock to start the swim portion. And about 80-90% of the run will be on the Greenway this year. It's sold out.
So,
Probably 80 to 90% of the run will be over here.
so will our swim start like it did last year in North Augusta?
We will be doing the same thing. Carl will get us that information, but we'll meet early and we'll welcome everybody.
We'll be greeted, okay.
That's right.
And because I thought they had talked about not doing the swimming on our side or something.
Kim, they love it.
Huh?
They love it.
Yeah, they did love it, but what was it? We talked about the Greenway, but I thought there was something. No, I'm talking about here lately. Has it always been?
Yes,
They're
ma'am.
going to do the water.
Yes, ma'am. It's going to
Okay.
be similar to last year, but
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
also going to run over here, so it's going to be an
The
extended.
Greenway, we add in the Greenway.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We are.
And they've added a lot of signage already about talking about the Greenway is going to be closed. So I feel like that's really good way in advance. So
Yeah,
people are
good, thank you.
There's also a traffic announcement over there across from Whitehampton Park as well. Go through that way. We're excited about it. Sold out. Over 2,500 competitors are going to be in town, so we're excited about that. Our concert series has kicked off since we last met. We have had Taylor Nation, Taylor Swift Tribute Band, and 24 Karat Magic, which was this past Saturday.
Can I say something about that, Carl?
Yes, ma'am.
That was absolutely wonderful. Now, I went off down there.
Which one you do, Taylor or?
I didn't have time to do Taylor, I'm sorry, but I did Bruno Mars. And that, well, I call him a little boy because he was a little boy. But he was so great. I mean, he was so great,
Really
just involved with the audience, constantly bragging on North Augusta. Wasn't he, Carl?
He was.
Constantly. And
Number
Jennifer
time.
was there. We were, and finally, at the last, I got up and went to dancing. I mean, he was so, I've just never seen anything like, and Carl, I think you said, the ages, people my age and even older, middle and children. It was a multi-generational thing there.
We had
And so, and I presume you're going to talk about this coming weekend. I want people, boy, once North Augusta catches on to this, we're going to be dynamite.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
it is. I've never seen it. Now, Carl and Jennifer, you were there. Wasn't it wonderful? Speak up, Jennifer.
It really was. He was very engaging, and he was very down to earth, and was very interested in North Augusta and the geology and our history. So it was very nice.
Yeah, Cheryl and Brian, they were there too, shaking it up. So, no. But I'm telling you, if North Augusta has not been to one of these, and Carl, Jennifer, and Derek have worked their brains off. I mean, this is a lot to put up every weekend.
It's only just begun, Pat.
That's what I said. It's going to wait till by the end of it, beginning of next year. It's going to be. I tell you, I've just never had so much fun and loved it. What is it, man?
You know, and you helped make that happen, Pat. When you started the tourism department.
Yeah, we did.
Carl with that.
Well, you did what we do. You did not have to tell me about Carl.
You did.
No, we might have done it, but this is the backbone of it. And to think, I wouldn't even thought of doing what you're doing.
That's why you get people better than us.
Well, I know we do, but I'm telling you, it was out of this world, and I just hope North Augusta takes advantage of what this city is offering them every weekend. You don't have to go a place. Then you walk up the street and there's your meals. You know, I mean, it's just dynamite.
Brilliant.
So thank you. And Derek's not here.
And this
Thank
is
you.
all because she went to that MASC conference,
Yes.
baby. The dream has been lit in your path.
What is that? Oh, that concert?
In Greenville, yeah.
Oh, great. Yes. Will I ever get over that? I am ready to go to Hilton Head next week. And where we going next year?
And now you can bring your boat too, Pat.
But Carl, and I knew Carl, this is one of my best friends right here. Him and old Rick over here, like my brothers.
Let's
you know,
keep moving.
all right, move on. But it was great. It was great.
Well, speaking of Rick, now I'll be amiss if I didn't mention Parks and Rec helping out, setting the table during the week with the stage and getting this facility clean. So I'm almost scared to even go on now. So. Well, upcoming, Miss Pat, we have a Twilight Tea Time. It's coming up Friday, September 20th. So we've engaged with a company that's going to bring in almost a mobile putt-putt course. We're going to put them on the steps of the amphitheater.
That's going to be awesome.
And it's going to be kind of a neon. We'll have music and food trucks and all that down there. And that's free of charge as well. Quality of life thing. We're going to
And what day?
Friday, September 20th from 5 to 10.
Carl.
ma'am.
Carl knows me well, though, don't you, Carl?
Absolutely.
That's why Pat speaks of. No, what we need, what Derek sent me with this schedule,
Yes, ma'am.
I presume that is on the website. It tells every day, the time, what's
Pat,
going to be
it's
there.
under events, right there in
Yeah,
front of our website, Explore North Augusta.
We're going
And
to
she's going to tell you all about it.
But that is,
I'm going to
go
tell you
ahead,
all
Jill.
about
She's
it.
going to tell you about how many people are listening, doing it.
Oh, you going to tell
You're
that
jumping
next?
ahead, Pat. You're
All right,
jumping
well,
ahead.
I just, that is, oh, I'm sorry.
I am Miss Pat. Well, this, holy smokes, lost train of thought here. Thursday through Saturday, we have the Humanities Festival that's going to go on, an effort that was spearheaded by our Arts and Heritage folks downstairs. Blue Jeans and Bluegrass is this Thursday from 5 to 8 in the Arts and Heritage Center, and they're also going to have a concert in the amphitheater this Saturday, starting at 4 o'clock. And that's going to be like local entertainment, local high school orchestra, and local dance clubs and all that performing. This Thursday, also 7:30 in the morning, North Augusta Chambers having Good Morning North Augusta. It's going to be State of Our Community, featuring local leaders, including our own Mayor Britton Williams. It's going to speak about our area. And lastly, our downtown lighting project, if y'all remember voting on that in early August, is getting our contractors in town. So you may see some lights starting to pop on a little bit over the next couple of weeks in downtown North Augusta, but they're on site starting today. Thank you.
Thank you. And in lieu of time, we have Mr. Clifford for Engineering and Public Works.
I'd like to read a note. Unfortunately, Tom Zeser and Brian Malik were not available this evening to do the update, so Tom gave me a little blurb here to say, which is, please do not ask Mr. Clifford any engineering questions, as he is not a certified engineer. Hold all questions for the next time I'm in front of council. So with that, we'll go to Engineering and Public Works. The Brick Pond West algae bloom has returned. It is believed this algae is caused by excessive nutrient load, primarily from pet waste and over-fertilization. The pond has been posted for no fishing, and the dock has been closed as a precautionary measure. The city has contracted with PLM to treat the pond with an algicide and to install nutrient filters in surrounding storm drains. The first application is scheduled to be done on Thursday, September 12th. The treatment product is safe for most fish and wildlife. Any fish kill would likely be a result of oxygen depletion due to the algae die-off. If there are any concerns, please contact the Stormwater Management Department at area code 803-441-4246. The next item, streets and drains, is continuing to work on the Georgia Avenue electrical system improvements, as Carl talked about. As part of that effort, they are also installing new speed display signs at each end of the downtown. New signs will be installed this week, but maybe a few more weeks before they're fully functional and operational. I'll pause for any questions that you may not have for me at this time.
But the speed signs are important. We had talked about that, about beginning to frame it to where people understand, they see what the speed limit is, because right now we don't have it. So that's going to be good. That's what I'm talking about, right, Carl? I mean, JD? That's what he's talking about when we talk about the speed signs?
Yes, sir. The driver feedback sign, so that it'll show what speed you're going. It will not flash like sirens do at some places, or like lights that you see at some cities, because SCDOT frowns upon that as it's a driver distraction.
But that's an ongoing, yeah.
I was just going to say something about the ponds. Mr. Mayor, earlier you said that some people make the comments that we don't care about the ponds. But I wanted to remind people that this is an engineered, designed filtration system that our brick ponds are. So it was, if I'm not correct, I don't know, but one of the first of its kind, I believe, that was installed in this area. So it's a natural filtration system for our stormwater. So we are very concerned with that pond. And what's happening here is a result of actually, like what it says, that it's over fertilized because it's working very well. So anyway.
Good point. Thank you.
And picking up on that, I'll also cover human resources, and we've got the jobs that are posted here on the website and also here in your packet. I have no additional updates for that, and I believe that concludes our department details. Subject to any questions, we'll move into our mayor's matters, and I'm going to turn it over to the tourism department.
Right. Okay. I just want to take a quick 10 minutes and between Jen and I kind of explain where our website has been. I'm not sure if y'all have had a chance to take a peek at it, but just kind of give you a backstory of our website. January of 2022, we had Visit North Augusta kind of get leaked out there, and just kind of, I hate to use this term soft launch, but it's kind of laid out there for a little while. We, as y'all remember, early in this year, we had a kind of a tourism overview discussion up here, and y'all encouraged me to find somebody of quality that could do a lot of stuff in-house and really have our hand in it, not go out to a third-party vendor and try to do it all in-house. So took your advice. Jen came on board in early April this year, and she kind of concurred with y'all. We pulled the plug on our old website and old mantra and designed a logo and website both in-house, all within 4 months. So 3 or 4 months. So really excited about where we're going. And keep in mind, you look at this website and this video, it's only 3 weeks old. So we're constantly evolving all that. And I'm going to turn it over to Jen, who's going to show you our video that she also created in-house, and kind of where our website is and where we're going with everything.
I was just going to play the video first, and then we'll jump right into the website.
The North Augusta, South Carolina's riverfront. Come explore. Explore Riverside Village. Explore Brick Pond Park. Explore the Greenway. Explore the Downtown Connector. Explore our active lifestyle. Explore downtown community events. Explore local culture, history, and arts. We love where we live, and we want to share what we love with you. Don't just visit, explore North Augusta.
Balances blood sugar levels and reverses type 2. Thousands of
So before I begin, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to council and the city staff. I don't know if you remember back in May, I sent out a survey kind of wanting to get everybody's ideas of what your thoughts of North Augusta were and what you loved. So that really built a foundation of where this website came from. So thank you to all of you. I just wanted to kind of point out a few numbers as well before we get started. You have the packet, has kind of what our website has seen, as well as where we are on social media. As of right now, the video you just saw has 10,000 views and climbing, and that's not counting the shares and likes from other people. So that's really great. Social media, in the past 3 weeks, we've been able to reach over 40,000 people. Our site has gotten about 7,000 views in 3 weeks, which has also put us at almost 1,000 followers on Instagram and 800 followers on Facebook. So we're really taking off, which is really great. So for the website, I just kind of want to give you a brief synopsis. If you have any questions, feel free to ask as we go along. At the top, you'll find our menu. One of our main points is going to be Explore. It's going to kind of break down what's all within the site. We've had a lot of people look at our events, and Jacqueline and Jubilee kind of offers pretty much how the video goes and shows you throughout North Augusta. You can also scroll down. It'll kind of give you a brief synopsis from Mayor Britton Williams, sorry. And then you'll have the breakdown and a synopsis of kind of what you see in the menu up above. We have added our facility rentals in North Augusta on here, which will take you to a page, kind of give you a general idea of what they are, along with their pricing. We've had a map created of downtown North Augusta, just a general layout. And then as well as kind of what people are saying about us, what you can find on Facebook or YouTube. This first video, I definitely recommend watching. It's pretty great. And then I know the community has asked for this, so we have created a calendar page. When you first come on here, it gives you a list view, breaks down kind of what each event will be. Click on it. If it's an outside event, it'll take you to that outside event's website. You can kind of get a little bit more details on it. If it's one of ours, we'll definitely break it down and give you a little bit more information. You can also view it in a month view. The month view is going to kind of give you the city of North Augusta as well as Explore North Augusta's main events at the top, but it will break down other local events that are going on within the CSRA lineup. And then you are able to subscribe to our calendar. It has all different formats, so there shouldn't be any issues with whatever calendar you prefer. As well as we've created an event form at the bottom of the on the calendar page. So if there's any public events that we have missed or anything that is coming up that you would like to promote, you can enter that in, and we will get it over and add that in. Yeah, mostly events. We want to focus on events that are going to be for the public. I mean, we're open to any kind of events to kind of weed through and discuss, you know, how they're going to impact or if it's really going to bring in the crowd for North Augusta or CSRA.
And one thing, what's her, Randy Mitchell, who does that thing at Riverview Park, Rick, every year. See, that would be something to put on here.
That was one of the things that people would always ask me is when they go to try to schedule an event with their group or something, that there was no calendar to be able to see, you know, what different groups had something on a Saturday, so they didn't always combine, you know, 4 different events on a Saturday. So I'm glad to see we're doing it. I guess we're gonna have to learn our approach on what gets on there and what doesn't.
As of right now, it's a lot of research on my end, trying to make sure that I'm staying in the loop for everything that's going on. Facebook has been real key. People love to make events on Facebook, so that's been a real big help. But I do ask the public, you know, anybody that's got a big event, especially October, there's going to be a lot of festivals going on. Those would be great times to come on here and add it onto the event form. I would love to add it in to get publicity for it. And then also you can view it as a day view as well. I was just going to show you this real fast. So since there's none today, it'll come up. You just kind of click for the next day. And then there's also a contact us too. So if anyone has questions, just anything, feel free. This is kind of a general, and it comes straight to the tourism department. Anyone have any questions?
I don't say it looks great. Looks very user friendly for someone like me. Me and computers don't mesh very well, so very good job on this.
Thank you.
And I love that after your video, what did it say? I love my city, North Augusta, or something.
We love where we live, and we want to share what we
That's
love.
right.
That was actually Mayor Brighton Williams.
Oh, that was him. Oh, look at him.
Did I say Brighton?
Step up, Mayor Williams.
I'll just say, honestly, it's fantastic. It
is.
It kind of hits the whole essence of our community, so I think it's really great right now.
Mr. Mayor and Council, that concludes the study session final portion, and I turn it back to you and Council for any further discussion.
Good for Laura? All right, you sure?
All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you.